This episode of Rookie Hunter is brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. Adventures in sheep country can change your life, and as residents of BC, we're very fortunate to have 3 different species of sheep in our province. After attending the Wild Sheep Foundation's annual convention, Sheep Show, in Reno, Nevada, we got to see what conservation looks like firsthand. The Wild Sheep Foundation's ability to raise and put millions of dollars on the ground each year to keep these majestic animals on the mountaintops worldwide is unmatched. The Wild Sheep family is a diverse group of people from all walks of life, and membership is open to anyone. Whether you're a seasoned pro, it's your first time on the mountain, or you just like to see sheep on the hillside, you can sign up and join today. Kelly and I are lifetime members, but you can become an annual member for just $45. You can also become a member of the Less Than One Club, which is the only club you want to get kicked out of. If you've never taken a North American or international ram, you can join us in the Less Than One Club for an extra $25. Plus, Less Than One Club membership also includes entry into a draw for 3 separate Doll sheep hunts, which will be given away at Sheep Show in 2019. For more information on the Wild Sheep Foundation and to become a member, head over to thewildsheepfoundation.org. Hey guys, gals, welcome to episode 83 of Rookie Hunter. Apologize for the delay. We missed last week, but we're going to try and get you 2 out this week. We got lots to talk about on this episode. We're going to answer some questions from Instagram. If you guys aren't following us, just search for Rookie Hunter Podcast. The last couple weeks, we've put up a post about an hour before we get in the studio, just asking for questions. It's kind of fun to answer these on the fly as they come up without putting too much thought into them. So keep those coming and watch for them if you do follow us. Today we're also going to be talking about the finalization of the pig. I did all the butchering last week there, or the week before. The season is wrapping up for us, so we're going to do a bit of a review of what we learned and all the cool shit that we did this year. And we'll also jump into sheep hunting. We've got lots of planning to do for 2019, so we're pretty excited to get into that stuff. And as the 2019 season comes into play, the whole year is probably going to be more or less planned around that sheep hunt. So you guys are going to hear more about us, training and getting ourselves healthy and prepared and equipment. And we're going to be talking to people who've got lots of experience out there. So I hope you guys are into sheep hunting. If you're not, I hope you guys enjoy following along on this journey, because it's going to be a doozy, I think. If you haven't done so already, please support our sponsors. Of course, the Wild Sheep Foundation, a big part of why we're going to do a sheep hunt this year. Sheep Show is coming up in February. They do have promo codes and stuff for the hotel. Everything is on the website for admission and registration. Head over to thewildsheepfoundation.org. Can't wait to get down there and hope to see a bunch of you guys. Let us know if you're going to be attending this year. Also, please head over to northarmknives.com. It is the holiday season, so get yourself something nice. Why not buy yourself something, or get something for somebody in your family? Again, that's northarmknives.com. We've been using that stuff for a couple years now, and as you guys know, we've got nothing but good things to say about them. So head over there now. We also have a Facebook page set up. If you guys are on Facebook, everything we do gets pushed there. All of our Instagram photos, blog posts, episodes, it all lands on our Facebook page if you want to keep up to date there. That page has been up for a couple of weeks now. We'd like to see some more likes. I think it's a little sad at the moment, so head over there, give us a like. Let's get into this episode. Sit back, relax, crack a cold beer, and enjoy episode 83. Well, the thing is, it depends on how they do their broth, and it's like a bone broth, and so that technically is probably pretty good for you.
Yeah,
they let that stuff. I think the broth is like a full day, cooking.
Pork bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to try that place. The other thing we do a lot is seafood soup. Like more of the Vietnamese, like pho, stuff like that. It's pretty good. A little spicy.
Nice.
Are we recording right now?
Yeah. Want me to tee this one up?
Yeah.
Okay. Kelly Molnar.
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Good.
Last time we saw each other, Vancouver?
Yep, Vancouver, Granville Island to / friend's house, friends of friends for me.
Yeah. Well, you finally got to, let's start with the important thing. We had some beers at Granville Island Brewing, straight from the tap.
Yeah, and that place closes early.
I know. That was I was hoping to get there, and I think they do charcuterie plates and stuff like that. So in that case, sweet, yeah. I'm going to order up some of that action and have a few brewskis. And they were like, shutting down the bar as we were
At 6.
Yeah, just about to have another. Yeah, it was early.
Yeah.
So, anyways, from there, you got to meet all the guys and gals that I went on the blacktail hunt with. Connor, you've met before, Sheep Show, and I don't know if you guys connected anywhere else before that.
I think the first time I met him was at Sheep Show, and great guy. That whole crew is awesome.
Yeah, so Ryan and Lisa were hosting us at their house. We actually had to do some voiceover recording, which was why we headed up there for that film that we're working on. And Bones was hanging out. He's a character. You guys got to splash around in a hot tub together.
Yeah. Not a big hot tub either.
Just the three out there. But they cooked us another fantastic meal. So you got to see sort of how they spoiled me when we were out on the sailboat. What did they cook for us?
It's like muley backstrap or tenderloin. I can't remember, but with blue cheese and some other sauces and some root veggies and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then some burritos with, I think it was another muley. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, fantastic, man.
Yeah.
It's nice to have friends that cook and enjoy cooking.
And also that setup they have is unreal. With like fully covered, it's not a gazebo, but like fully covered patio with countertops, 2 of them.
Yeah.
Wood stove, professional grill, a little it's got like platform that goes down into a coal pit.
Briquette kind of thing in there.
Yeah.
Man.
And a tap with a keg underneath.
Yeah, most importantly.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Pretty awesome. Lisa was offering you her plans. Did you take her up on that to build one?
No, but I'll reach out. I don't know if I can make it work. I was looking at my backyard. I'm like, I might have to rip the pergola down.
That's probably worth it.
Yeah, I think so. Or just throw a roof on it.
You could reuse that wood for the new structure. So it's not all wasted.
True.
Yeah. Got to get thrifty.
Yeah. Won't be able to get the lawnmower in and out of the garage, but doesn't matter.
Fuck it. Nice. Want to answer some questions?
Sure.
So yeah, the last couple of weeks, it's been kind of fun like an hour before we go in, usually throw up a quick Instagram story and asking people to throw out some questions. So the fun thing is like, we don't really have time to prepare answers for this. We just sort of answer them and they're popping up as we speak here. So let's read a few of these. The first one is from Thomas. He said a preference over the meat in like mule deer meat. So what he was referring to was this episode of Meat Eater when they compare an older buck to a younger one. Is that what the premise was?
Yeah, they had 2 of the same cuts, and then they kind of did like a sashimi off the sirloin tip or something. One of them was an old buck, and the other one was a young buck. And they would rub the meat in some salt and lime juice and some parsley or something.
Yeah.
But what they found was that the younger buck was actually tougher than the older one,
which is interesting.
And I think like from my perspective, anyways, haven't really had enough experience with young and versus old, because the only old animal that I've tasted is the elk that we got.
Yeah, like my 4-point was older, but I wouldn't consider that like an old buck.
No.
And we've never like A/B them side by side. But that being said, man, I think I just like deer meat. So I can't say I have a preference over either one. Mm-hmm. I've really enjoyed all the different meals we've had with each. But with that in mind, I would like to do that comparison. Mm-hmm. Like if with a tenderloin or a backstrap or something like that. Actually, you know what, man? I might have little chunks of each still, because I kind of cut them into smaller pieces. I'm going to look in my freezer and see what I've got left, because maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a fun experiment.
I have a lot of meat labeled with species and the year.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly if it was mine, muley, or yours. So something to keep in mind. That's a tip for folks. If you bag a few deer, you might want to put some extra detail on there.
We didn't have that problem this year, but
yeah, I didn't even need a Sharpie this year.
I think your muley ended up being pepperoni and farmer's
sausage, yeah,
along with the white
and fresh sausage.
Mm-hmm. Could be wrong though, but good point to sort of specify what deer it was.
Because we've shared all the meat we've got, right? So it's not like we're putting the whole thing in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the elk was the one thing that was older, and I think we did eat that raw.
We did, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, we carved a little bit off of it while we were breaking it down. And that, I'm pretty sure that was a really old bull. Like, even if, I don't know if you've seen the Euro mount since the whole thing went down, but if you look at his teeth, man, they're just like flat. So I think that's usually a good indication that it was an older bull. He was also post-rut. He was a stinky bastard too. Do you remember walking in on that thing? It just smelled like piss, basically.
I remember, yeah.
It's a ruddy old bull. And I don't know if you found this too, but so there's that smell. Once you've smelled elk, like a ruddy elk, you'll never forget that smell. And you'll start to pick that up as you're out in the bush too. You can smell elk piss. Once you know what it is, you definitely know. We kept the meat extremely clean, but I found anytime I cooked with that meat, I could still smell that ruddy bull smell. So I remember the first time I cooked some up, I'm like, oh God, I hope this doesn't taste like a ruddy old bull. And even though you could sort of smell that while you were cooking it, I could never actually taste it. And that's some of the best meat I've ever had. So
beer went down the wrong tube.
What's on tap today, Cal?
It's Four Winds Wild IPA.
Are you trying to inhale it or what?
Accidentally.
Did you find that with that bull, that you could smell it a little bit when you cook it?
Yeah, like even with the grind, if you got a bunch of grind in a pan and you're kind of like cooking up some burrito meat or something, you can smell it. Like it's a little stronger than the deer meat for sure.
Yeah.
But
could never taste it.
Yeah, and I can never taste it. And also I cooked big hunk of backstrap and kind of 20 minutes in the oven after you sear it, at like 400 or something. And like super rare on the inside, and it tastes amazing.
100% agree.
Didn't have any issues.
Yeah, I guess the main takeaways from that is, as long as you handle your meat wisely while you're field dressing, keep it clean, and you cook it the way it should be cooked, I don't think you're going to have any issues with it. That's not really his question anyways, but I guess, no, I don't really have a preference, but I am kind of stoked to do a A/B comparison if we have the opportunity to do so. I'm sure we will at some point. And like I said, I'll look in the freezer when I get a chance. So
yeah, I mean, we only have one thing you can control, and that's how you handle the meat.
Totally.
And there's a lot of other factors involved, like age and season and all that kind of stuff. But I can't say that out of any animal we've got, I've tasted something and been like, ugh, I wish I didn't take that animal. And we've heard so many myths coming into this as rookies that, you can't do this and you shouldn't eat that, or you don't want to eat bear and you don't want to do this. And it's like, none of those have turned out to be true.
No. The one thing I've heard from reliable sources is that caribou is the one thing that could be bad.
Yeah,
we haven't done that yet. We got to test that theory. I think I would avoid a post-rut caribou just based on who has said that to us.
Maybe you'll like it. Maybe just like,
maybe
some people like certain cheeses, and
a little bit of ungulate.
Maybe it'll be the favorite animal. You never know.
Next question. You ready to move on?
Yeah.
Moose Knuckle wants to know if the bear hunt is going to become an annual thing. I'd say yes.
I would say yes too.
In the background, we've actually been planning to. One of the cool things about the blacktail hunt, man, is it's. And we talk about this, like the people we've met through doing the podcast, and that is probably the coolest part of doing this. And so, there's people who are sharing experiences with us. All those folks that were on the blacktail hunt that you got to meet in Vancouver haven't really done a black bear hunt, and they're on the coast, so it's they're dealing with different variables as far as meat goes and stuff like that. So the hope is to get them to come and hunt with us, and I'm pretty confident we could get a bear. It really doesn't matter to me who gets it. I just want to kind of share the Okanagan and some what I think is really cool terrain and a unique experience with some folks that did the same for us. So
for sure.
So I think that's kind of what the bear hunt could be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I have to get a bear every year.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but it is a cool time of year and it's a cool animal. And I think there's a need for bear hunting, period.
Yep.
Based on like the area specifically that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, annual thing for sure.
Definitely. What's next? This is kind of a cool question and sort of, actually, you know what? Let's come back to this one.
Okay.
Chris's question. This was actually an email. I think Ryan was on the website and I think he noticed that there was no mention of a rangefinder on the website.
Yeah.
Because if you guys go to our website, rookiehunter.com, if you click on the gear tab, there's basically there's a tab for myself and there's one for Kelly and all of the equipment that we're using.
You should take a picture of yours and just put it up.
Connor saw it actually on the blacktail and he's laughing. He's like, holy shit, where did this thing come from?
And then in brackets, put not a recommendation.
Yeah, not recommended. I don't even know who that thing is made by, but it's a piece of shit.
I think it's like an old Bushnell or something.
Yeah, it is. That is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So she's good up to about 200 yards.
In the sunshine.
On a good day.
Yeah.
If you got you can sometimes.
If you're scoping a mirror.
Yeah. You might get lucky at 300 if the conditions are right, but it's a useless piece of shit. It's good for
sighting in,
which has been good. And,
yeah.
That being said, like if we can range, if we can find points that are, this is 80, this is 165, this is 200, it gives you a pretty good idea of what you're dealing with. But beyond that, you're kind of guessing. So it has its purpose, I guess. I would not recommend it, but it's it served us well, and that's a piece of equipment that we're going to be investing in, especially as we prepare for this sheep hunt.
Yeah, I think sheep hunting, bow hunting, anything where, we've gotten through without two, but I think we should have two, and I think we need to upgrade yours.
Yeah, it's gotten us this far, but
I haven't really looked a lot in the past year. But when I was looking, I spent a lot of time looking at the Leica ones because I think they're really simple, just form function. But they're not the cheapest ones. Vortex always kind of hits that value proposition pretty good.
100%.
So I don't think you can really go wrong with a Vortex rangefinder. Leupold, I'm always looking at them for the rangefinders too, but it's just harder to get them in Canada from certain dealers or anything like that. And the other one that's, I think, newer in the last couple of years is a Nikon, and they have image stabilization.
Yep.
I've heard some mixed reviews on that one because it's been out there for some time now. And I don't know. I have heard that from some folks that it's impressive because you can go out to like 1,000, 2,000. I think it's actually rated for 2,000, even though you kind of like split that number in half for realistic application. But image stabilization helps for sure.
Yeah, I bet.
And I think it's the only one with that. So something to look into. I think that'd be the first one that I'd check out just to see, give it a try and see how it works.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So that answers that question. One of the things he mentioned too was to add links to the photos. If you go to my page, all my stuff is linked up. Actually, Cal, maybe you should go through and do that. So if you click on the image, it'll send people to those pieces of equipment,
right? Which
is a good idea. But yeah, for now, head over to my page if there's stuff that's interesting to you. About 90% of it is linked up. Some of it is sort of like my backpack, for example. I don't think I could find a good link on that one. You can still find it out there, but I think they've sort of updated that pack. So it's not 100%.
Same with mine.
Yeah, exactly. So some things sort of, get phased out over time.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's all up there. You can always just copy everything's labeled, so you can always copy and paste and Google it for the time being. But everything's up there if you want to check it out. So Chris's question, he went deep on us, Cal. You ready?
Yep.
So he said, lay out the backstory of why you wanted to start a podcast, why you are where you are now, and what motives and turns in the road got you to where we are now. Start with the first one. I think for us to start a podcast, there was no real reason to do it other than, well, here's my take on it. I had this big, huge commercial recording studio, and I, for whatever reason, never really, the plan was like, oh, I've got this studio and practice space and all the equipment. We're going to jam there all the time. But I was always so burned out on music. It's like the last thing I wanted to do was make more noise at the end of the day.
It's always whatever you love to do, when you turn it into a job, it becomes a job.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, Mike's got a studio. We're going to jam all the time. And then it's always the opposite, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny. So I thought, you know what? Why not make use of this studio for us and start a podcast? And neither of us are qualified and should have ever started a podcast, but we did it anyways. I think the main thing, Cal, was like, let's just use this as an excuse to just hang out every week or every couple of weeks. So it was more so for us, I think.
Mm-hmm. And also to talk just between us about what we were thinking, right?
And so like, say nobody downloaded it. It didn't really matter to me if we got downloads or not, but I did have experience doing other people's podcasts and kind of knew how maybe we could get some traction with it. So there was that. But I think the main point was like this, no matter what happens with this thing, this is going to be cool for us to listen to in 20, 30, 40 years from now. It's sort of just like, a bio recorded in audio of our experiences as hunters, new hunters. And it'll be interesting to listen to at some point because you start to forget all this stuff over time, and years blend into years, and you forget what you did certain years and where you were. But now we've got a pretty clear record of all the stuff we've done to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's my perspective on it. There was no real motive for it.
Yeah. I think first of all, it was just a chance to, we were going into hunting anyways, so this was kind of like our chance to sit down every week and kind of plan out what we were thinking, what were we learning, what did we want to get into. So it was cool from that perspective, but I agree, neither one of us really cared if anybody was listening or not, right? It was more just for us.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of obviously grown a lot more into, tracking adventures, and it's a motivator for us, I think, to challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
And really keep that ball rolling. And this year, I didn't get any animals. You had got some meat from that hunt you were on.
Yeah.
Actually, I got the bear. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess what I took away from this year, and it relates to the podcast, is just the amount of opportunities we're getting and the people we get to meet through doing this.
Yeah.
Everybody's been super down to earth. It's been like every event we go to is awesome. Make a lot of friends, and it just opens a lot of doors. So I just enjoy it for that reason at this point.
There was never any hopes of becoming known, not that we are, or to make money or to become a celebrity in the hunting world. That's still not a part of why we do this. It's just basically it continues to be something that's for us. We get the opportunity to talk to a lot of cool people. That's like an unexpected byproduct of this whole thing, is that we've got a list of folks that we can reach out to at any time, really. And that's the coolest thing that I learned about the hunting community through doing this, is like you can pretty much, talk to absolutely anybody in the hunting community for the most part. There might be a few people that don't want to talk to you, but for the most part, I'd say 95% of the people are willing to share information with you, encourage you, and point you in the right direction. So that's kind of been the coolest byproduct of doing this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, learning, I think one of the reasons I got into hunting, period, was just, I'm kind of obsessed with just trying new things and learning new things.
Likewise.
So that was a big driver. And then I've kind of learned over the last, 5 to 10 years, the more you jump into things that make you uncomfortable, the better it is for you. And neither one of us were, professional speakers.
No.
And we still aren't. But,
No.
I think it's just another one of those challenges. And it's been nothing but good things so far.
Yeah. But the people, I think, are the best part of doing this thing. So
yeah,
I think we answered that one. That's it for questions. I finished off the pig. Fuck, when is that? A couple weeks back now, or a week back? I'm lost.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Been on the road for a while. But so those of you that listened to the last episode, the day we recorded that one, I was actually going to pick up the pig. So what we did is we dressed it and got everything ready. You can go back and listen to the other one if you haven't to find out what we did. But essentially what we did was we cut it in half lengthwise down the spine.
Sawzall.
With the old Sawzall. So we had two halves. The thing I weighed it was pretty much bang on 200 pounds combined, the two.
Yep.
And basically I just got to work on it. So it was a lot of work, as you'd imagine. It was a very cool learning experience. I think there's a lot of similarities between doing wild game and, a bear is essentially a big pig, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways. So there's lots of crossover and lots of people are like, oh my God, how did you know how to do that? Like, well, it's a big job, but it's no different than doing wild game, and you sort of just figure it out as you go along. It's really not that complicated. It's intimidating if you've never dealt with butchering and stuff like that, but it's something that you can definitely do on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually broke it up into 2 days, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But so on the first day, on the Sunday, I broke it down to all the primal cuts. So it comes your front shoulders, belly, loin, and the ham, which is the back, the hind quarter. So I got all that done on the first day. That was super easy and pretty obvious. What I wanted to do was to break it down into the smaller cuts, the more familiar stuff that you would see in the grocery store or at the butcher shop. So I had bought a food or a vacuum sealer and opened it up, and it was missing all of the bags. So I couldn't do any of the work. So it was late at night. I bought the thing from Costco, and by that point it was too late to bring it back. So luckily it was pretty cold at that time there. And I just hung it all back out on my deck there and just kept it cool overnight, and then went back the next day and returned that thing and got to work on it and finish it off the following evening. So broke it down into all the finer cuts. So your chops and bacon and hocks, and you get your sirloin steaks, and you get all the fat and stuff that you want to use for grind. So my freezer is full to the rim, Kelly, and the next stage is just to kind of pull it all back out and do a bit of an inventory of what's there and find out who wants what. And I actually left one of the hind quarters, which is technically the ham, but it's the full hind quarter that I want to do for a nice Christmas feast or something like that. Smoke it and do it that way. Just
cool.
Something different. So,
do you have to take lymph nodes out of it?
Yeah, there are spots that you need to dig out of there. And if anyone's interested in doing it, maybe I'll put a link in the show notes. I found a really good YouTube video by a guy. I don't recall who he was, but he had a awesome video that was over 20 minutes long. But what I did was just, he took you through the primals and then each smaller cut that you could do from there. And it was like incredible video, made it really easy for me to follow along. So I would just kind of step by step, I would play it, pause it, and kind of made my way through the whole pig, and then vacuum sealed everything and threw it all in the freezer. So it looks pretty damn good.
Nice. Yeah, I'm stoked to try it.
Yeah, we did some pork chops. When was that? I don't know. Earlier in the week here, and they were really good, man.
Nice.
I think they'll be good as smoked pork chops. So we'll do a handful of them that way. Get the smoker rolling. That ham, I think, it's huge. So it's going to take quite a while to run that thing through there. It's probably going to be a full day of smoking, I would imagine. And got to brine it and that too. So,
yeah, we'll have to look at some timelines on that, like full blown pig leg.
Yeah, I looked, and like a half of one would be like 8 hours, I think. So I might get this thing cut in half because I got to do some more reading anyways. But
because even those briskets, which aren't super thick, they're like 3 inches thick. Like they smoke those for 12 hours and re-smoke them. And
yeah, you can double smoke them. So should be pretty interesting. Got to do some more reading. And I think what I was looking at earlier today actually is a meat thermometer that you can just jam in there and hook it up through Wi-Fi, and it'll send you alerts to your phone. So you don't have to wait around all day and keep checking the damn thing. You can just load it up with pucks and kind of go on with your day. And know what the temperature's at internally,
Mm-hmm.
which might be kind of nice. So if anybody has suggestions on thermometers, actually, I'd be curious to hear.
Yeah. I've gone through a couple just personal cooking.
Yeah.
The last one didn't survive the barbecue temperatures.
Nice.
And I opened the lid and pulled the steak off, and it just had like 4 inches of the cable connected to it.
Oh, shit.
It melted it. Steak temperature is pretty tough.
Yeah.
For some of those things, it's usually over the 500 Celsius limit on some of them.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 500 Fahrenheit.
I go with the old touch test. I think I got steak style then, but
Yeah.
wild game, there's always that pressure because it's like precious meat.
Yeah.
And I don't want to overcook it. And it's a fine line. I don't want it to be too rare because family doesn't like that as much as I do. It's nice when like I just cooked a tenderloin for myself. This was a few weeks back, but it was just me. And I cooked that thing super rare and I loved it. But not too many people would eat it like that except for hunters, I guess. But
yeah, I did one too, and it was super rare.
That thing looked good.
The thing with steak I find is if you buy a really good steak and you just put it on for 8 minutes and you're good. If you buy like a really good strip loin or a ribeye and it's like a solid inch, 8 minutes and you're good.
Yeah.
That's my only rule.
Nice. Yeah.
But that's all I got. Fish too. I usually go to about 125.
Yeah, fish I don't cook fish as much as I do other like red meat.
No.
So it's always kind of like,
especially
I
white
hope
fish.
this works out okay. Yeah. Because it's funny, like with something like halibut or sable fish. I love sable fish, but it's so easy to overcook it. And it's like,
it's a magic eraser.
Chunk of rubber.
I feel like the halibut's the hardest fish to cook. The langcod's easier because it's got more fat on it.
Yeah.
But I like, it's hard. I guess through experience, you just realize like, no, I can take it off now. It's done.
Exactly.
But it takes some time.
Yeah. I've got one last piece from you actually, Kelly, and we're going to cook that up this week. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but we shall see what happens.
Cool.
Yeah. The year, but it's not over yet, and we'll probably have some reflections before December's over here. But we thought we'd sort of do a bit of a wrap up on the season because rifle season is over. There's still some opportunities for bow season. You might get out. I don't know if I'm going to have time for it, but we've had a pretty cool and interesting year.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, a year seems to go by pretty quick. But you mentioned like the beginning of the year was Sheep Show. That seems like forever ago.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun. And that's where we met a lot of people.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a really good time.
Yeah.
Good food, good drink, good company.
Entertainment.
Crazy. Craziness.
Bear hunts. It was the first for us. That's something that we've wanted to accomplish for a long time.
Yeah. And the thing that I enjoy most about the bear hunt is I've shared that meat with so many people that that are not even hunters, let alone, had never eaten bear in their lives.
Yeah.
And everybody loves that sausage. We had an ugly sweater party the other day.
Oh, nice.
And we had a number of folks there that, we had a big charcuterie board in the middle of the counter.
Yep.
And then I kept these ones separate. I did announce to everybody like, hey, okay, all this stuff is like store-bought, but this is bear sausage.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to try it.
Nice.
And everybody loved it. So I'm happy we did it kind of in an accessible recipe.
Me too.
And
that was the whole point with that bear, I think, man, was to knock down some barriers for other folks.
Barriers?
Yeah, as far as like entry into like eating wild game.
It's a pun.
Oh, barriers. Gotcha. They just needed some clarification.
You have to cut that.
Shitty joke. So it's succeeded in knocking down those barriers, Cal.
There you go. Badunch.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, man. It's we already talked about that too. We did the same thing at my place a while back there too, and yeah, definitely not tricking anybody into eating it, but here it is. Please try it. Everybody loves it.
I struggle with that a little bit because my first plan was to trick everybody. And then
we don't even need to trick
doubled back and said, no, like I'm going to tell them because I know they're going to like it anyways.
Exactly.
And, but it is kind of frustrating when people don't try it because you're like,
why? Yeah.
You wouldn't even notice. Like
you can't have an opinion on something if you've never fucking tried it. So you can try it. It's not going to kill you. And then if you don't like it, you can say you don't like it.
Yeah.
But you're going to like it. So eat it. Nobody said no yet anyways.
Yeah.
Eat it, you fuck. Yeah, man. So the bear was cool. And as we said off the top of the episode, that's going to become an annual thing. And I think next year's bear hunt's going to be a little bit different in many ways. Not that one is better than the other. It's just you learn stuff through doing this, and you also find more spots when you're pursuing other animals, which is always the interesting part. We passed on a bear that maybe we shouldn't have, but is what it is. I don't have any regrets there. I actually got a lot of rabbit this year too. Kind of forgot about that. We got to go sturgeon fishing on the Fraser River.
Yeah, that was awesome. Super. And salmon fishing, although we didn't catch one.
Yeah.
But rookie sockeye salmon from shore fishermen.
Yeah.
Not a big surprise. We didn't get anything, although we did stop in at a local shop, which is essential.
Yeah.
Talk to the people.
That's some good info.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all you can do. And then the rest is, a little bit of luck. And
a huge shout out to Wild Sheep Society BC for inviting us to that.
Definitely.
Thinking we should, we kind of missed the opportunity to purchase a team. This goes fast, but we can bid on a team at Sheep Show.
Nice.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. There's going to be a competition now. So maybe we should do that. We should find out who wants to join our team. I don't know how many guys can go on a team. 4?
4, I think.
Okay. We'll keep that in mind.
3 or 4.
Yeah. So that was good times. And obviously, the moose hunt was pretty wild and interesting. There's a couple episodes dedicated to that one. The blacktail hunt. And man, we've kind of wrapped it up. It's we've learned a lot, I'd say, from this year.
Yeah.
As we do from every year. But I really think it's going to change the way we approach planning for coming seasons. More so focusing on, I don't know. What do you think, Cal? What's changing from after this year? Again, there's nothing negative about this year, but it just kind of opens up some doors and different approaches to planning.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of learned that there's an inverse relationship sometimes between the efficiency of a hunt and the experience of a hunt.
Right.
And, sometimes you can get both of those things and sometimes you can't. And sometimes, if you ultimately want to, you don't want to sacrifice the time you have because you only get limited amount of trips, right? We've talked about this before. So I just think like if we're going to be applying for LEHs and all that kind of stuff, we really want to make sure that's what we want to dedicate our time to for that year, right?
Yeah.
And some of the things we did this year, I think it fits perfectly with the whole rookie hunter theme because there's a lot of aspects to hunting, period. Some of that even comes down to how you apply for things. So all of this has been a learning curve, like this whole trip, including this year. And I think we learned a lot that, we really want to evaluate the areas that we're applying to, really want to make sure that, we're setting ourselves up for that epic adventure every time.
Yeah.
Which flows into this podcast as well. So I think that was one of the big things I learned was that sometimes that relationship is a bit inverse and you really have to figure out where you are on that spectrum and consider that you only have maybe one hunt a year, right?
Exactly. Yeah, just deciding what's most important to you.
Yeah.
And to be clear, kind of what we're alluding to is like we picked limited entry draws based on the best odds and not so much the area. So we applied for the, that specific region. and then we got drawn for it and then started to look at the maps when we should have really looked at the maps and then applied for the region, right?
Yep.
Which is what it is. We got a lot from those draws, I think. And it's only going to lead to just more thought out hunts from this point on.
Yeah, for sure.
And we were talking a little bit last week, and it's like, what do we want from it? Like, is it, is it the challenge? Is it the experience? Is it only to come back with meat? Does it matter if we come back with meat? So there's all those variables, and it's just trying to decide if you don't come home with any meat, do you still have a bunch of checked boxes, and do those outweigh the fact that you don't come home with any meat? And I feel like in most scenarios, it's very likely that we're not going to come home with any meat anyways. So it's nice if you can, spend those 2 weeks or whatever you have off and getting lots of other things from it, even if you don't come back with anything other than your great experience. So,
and I feel like I kind of had to do this. Like I had to, set yourself up for the maximum percentages, and then you still come home from nothing.
Yeah.
Then that's a learning, right? Then It's like, oh, geez. I mean, kind of wish we were on a 14-foot pontoon or a pontoon boat, like going up who knows what river, and like our friend from Journal of Mountain Hunting there, and you can check out his podcast. But there's just different adventures, and that's what I mean. Is like if you prioritize the efficiency of it, sometimes it works, and we found out that a lot of times it still doesn't work. So
exactly,
you really got to put some more factors into that equation.
So that sort of leads us into our plans for next year, which is a sheep hunt. And I think that the conclusion we came to when we were chatting was like, we want to go into an area, obviously number one, where there's sheep, but it's also going to be a huge challenge. The odds of success, because it's going to be a challenging area, might not be that high. But if we are successful, we've checked off all those experience boxes and all the challenges, and there's going to be a whole lot of, health and fitness and everything that leads up to it. So overall, we're going to get a lot from this hunt. And if we are successful on this sheep hunt, that is just going to be huge. Like that's why you see those guys with huge smiles in the photos, is because they worked their ass off, and in most cases, multiple years of coming back.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys we're very fortunate because we live in British Columbia, that it is still going to be expensive for us to do this, but not nearly as expensive as these other guys. So people who, continually do this over a span of up to 10 years or even more, keep coming back, and finally they find that sheep of a lifetime, and they make it happen. And that's why they're smiling. It's not because they killed an animal. It's because they worked their asses off for that one moment. So I think that's kind of the conclusion that we came to, is just to go somewhere a bit more remote, prepare, work really hard, and come back with a cool experience.
And to do that with it as residents without a guide
exactly
would be even, and I know I don't want to take anything away from folks that have to take a guide, because they have to take a guide. No other
choice.
I'm sure a lot of them wouldn't, but to do it without a guide, and that would be a pretty amazing experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we already been up there once and we didn't come back with anything, and that memory will last forever. So
hell yeah. I think about that hunt on a pretty regular basis, like probably on a week. Well, the screensaver on all of my computers is the mountains that we never got to.
Yeah, it's on my phone too.
And I actually today just ordered a canvas print of that same photo.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's
Poster Jack.
I know what the hell is it? I can't remember what it's called.
I think there's a couple companies.
Anyways, yeah, it's like a 20 by 40 canvas that we can hang up on the wall.
Nice.
Down here. And again, that's sort of that motivating factor to look at that and be like, that's where we're going. We got to get ready for that shit. So point B on that, that was a memorable experience. We were pushed to our limits. We had ups and downs, and moments of frustration and good times in the teepee at the end of the day. And oh man, it's just a totally different hunt. You know what I mean? And it's something different. And there's only so many of those, there's only so many years that we can do that. Right. So now's the time to do it. And, the next year of podcasting is going to be this whole journey to get there, and who knows what's going to happen in the end.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the other thing with the moose hunt too is like knowing that we are going to be going to sheep this year. We kind of toss that option in as a like, okay, what's the closest we can go? But like we want to go to where they are, but not, what's the closest and highest odds? And it just seemed like a, fish in a barrel, but it turns out it wasn't. So it was it was a good learning experience overall.
Yeah.
And I'm also grateful that we went out there just to kind of, see I'll go anywhere in BC. I just want to see it.
Yeah.
Right. And we learned a lot just from the environment up there. So,
totally.
And some of the issues that we want to talk about.
Yeah. So. We'll talk more about that. Actually, somebody, I think it was Mark Hall, posted something about, a shift in the way that they're going to be doing logging in British Columbia, which kind of fits into what we saw up there. So, yeah, I don't know, man. There's moments of me like these conservation issues keep me up at night, and that's the hardest thing about being a hunter, man. So you only hope that things will change and go in the right direction. So it feels good when you see things moving like that. So, yeah, man. I go from feeling sort of frustrated to being optimistic at the same time. And I hope that by doing this, we, help change a few minds too, and help people realize the importance of conservation and habitat and all the things that go along with it.
Yeah, that's where sharing some of that bear meat goes a long way.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because, there's no doubt there's a lot of public policy type issues out there, and even if people are aware of wildlife, sometimes it's not their top priority, and in some cases, like there are big problems that we need to prioritize over some other things. But it's just a really difficult landscape for sure. And the discouraging thing I feel like from a hunter's perspective or an outdoorsman is it seems to be shrinking, like the amount of people doing it. But I don't know. I just hope we can, turn some minds and make sure they're at least listening and we have a seat at the table. That's the key thing.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yep.
Because when that generation isn't here anymore, that's kind of carrying the hunting torch, we need to make sure the hunting conservation outdoorsman spokespersons are still there.
Yeah, totally.
That's going to be the challenge, I think.
I think so too. So...
But lots of good organizations out there. We've talked to a number of them, so they're doing good work.
100%. Well, I think that's a good place to end her off, Cal, unless there's anything else you wanted to add.
No, I'm just looking forward to 2019. Well, actually, I'm going to try to get out there for a couple bow hunts, but we can touch base on that later on.
Take you out.
Yeah, and 2019, planning starts now, training starts now, and...
we got some sweet shit planned. It's going to be fun, I think.
Yeah, and we'll, everybody will get to follow us through this adventure, and it starts now. So,
right now,
fuck. Like we got a meeting planned for a phone call, so everybody's got some homework to contact certain people and to try to get some research, and we'll start at that meeting, and then it's all in.
I got to reach out. We're going to line up a trainer that's going to get us in shape and kick our ass. I got to reach out to her because she's
right.
I hope she's available. I got to do this. I should do this tomorrow morning, actually. Get that lined up because I think she'll be fun and she doesn't really take any shit, and she'll get us into shape, and hopefully she could come here too and have some fun talking about how out of shape we are. So,
or I am.
Wow.
I think we're like in the spectrum, like we can both go pretty much anywhere, I would say.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be suffering behind a little bit, but cause you're pretty regular runner at this point.
Yeah.
But I think we're both in a good position. So that is like one notch in the pro column. But we're kind of at the age now where it's like, this is where we really got to start focusing on it. So I'm totally in agreement with the whole trainer plan.
The point is, man, we want to be out there and we want to have fun, and we don't want to miss an opportunity because we're not in the best shape that we can be. So that's the whole purpose for that. So we'll suffer in the meantime, and you guys will get to hear that. But hopefully it pays off for us in the end. So that's the whole point.
As long as we don't have to give up here again.
Yeah, fuck that.
Okay, deal.
Yep. All right.
Cheers.
Hey, so hold on a sec. Are we're gonna try to do 2 this week. We got to get caught up.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll try for a podcast on Thursday?
No, I have to go down to Vancouver on Thursday.
Friday? So you might hear from us again this week, maybe on Saturday or something. You'll see another podcast from us because we owe you folks another one. So we'll chat soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This episode of Rookie Hunter was also brought to you by North Arm Knives. North Arm Knives are handcrafted and sold directly through a father and son team right here in British Columbia. Choose from a selection of outdoor knives, kitchen knives, and custom engravings from northarmknives.com. They ship internationally and guarantee all of their work. Kelly and I have put their products to the ultimate test and give them our stamp of approval. Head over to northarmknives.com.